This will be a brief tutorial on how Doctopus works. Now, Doctopus is a little more techy than how Google Classroom works, but I do feel like there are some extra added features on Doctopus that Google Classroom can't offer at this point. The first thing you need to do, whether you use Google Classroom or Doctopus, is to create your template or document that you're going to share with your students. So for instance, I have a folder that I keep all my templates for my students. So I want to keep it in the same folder. It's easier for Doctopus to find. It's much easier for me as well. So here's my folder. I want to share this Covington number 7 with my students. I have it created here. That's step number 1, is create your template. Know where you save it or know where it's saved. Next step is to go to your folder where you want all the student projects to be saved. It's easier than having Doctopus created. You create it, and it saves a little bit of time as well. So I want to go to my first grade classroom here, and I'm going to create a folder, which I've already done right here, which says Anderson number 7. Now inside of that folder is where I'm going to create the spreadsheet, which is going to contain all my information. So for this video purposes, I'm just going to create a new one, and I'm going to call it, we're going to pretend I'm on the next activity, number 8. So I'm going to hit create. Now I'm going to open my folder, and this is where my spreadsheet will be. So I'm going to click new and go down to Google Sheets. I want to name it, I want to name everything the same thing. So my template is named the same as my folder, which is named the same as this spreadsheet. Now because this video, I don't have a new template created, the naming is going to be off just a little bit. So I want to name this Anderson number, and I called it the previous folder number 8, as you can see right here. So I'm going to call it number 8. With the add-ons in Google, they're going to remember that you like Doctopus, so it's saved for me. If you don't have Doctopus installed, go to add-ons, get add-ons, and then you'll find Doctopus. There's a short video there which walks you through how Doctopus can be used in the classroom. Very effective tool. It saves so much time from students having to share documents back with you and make a huge mess on your Share With Me drive. It's a very easy deal that you can do. So because I have it saved, I want to just launch it. It takes a little bit of time to get working, to get your sheet ready. It's going to prepare your sheet for you. What's really cool with Doctopus also remembers your classroom list that you've created. So now if this is your first time that you're ever going to make a list, I can go down to build a new roster. Now if I want to build the new roster, I can go through, and it's going to be, I want to just select it right here. I want to just on this sheet. You can import from G-Class folders, you can import from Teacher Dashboard. I want to just make it on this sheet. And then I want to hit, this is the directions. Create your roster, populate it with their names, their email addresses, copy and distribute the drive folder to students. You can create folders, which is really handy for students. It organizes it for your students. So I'm going to actually go back here a step, and I want to show you what it looks like when I have the folders created. This is as if I'm going to, if I've done this numerous times, and I have done this numerous times with my students. So I want to go back to choose roster. Doctopus, you can also change the steps. If you realize you created something incorrectly and you want to change it, it will allow you to go to those steps. Because I've already saved this one time, what I did was the very first time I created my roster, I went down to build a new roster, and I typed in, or actually I copied over all of my student email addresses. Now first grade students don't have email addresses, so I had to make them up, and with the help of Andrew Stillman, I was able to use the plus sign, and I'll show you what that looks like here. So I click on Anderson. The very first time I ran this also, I was able to create folders. Now if you have a mistake or you want to change something, it's really easy. You have a student move away or you have a new student come in, I can change that at this point right here. Doctopus is going to allow me to update my sheet as many times as I need to get it to exactly where I want it to be. So for instance, if I have a student that's moved away, I can click on their row, I can delete the information or I can change it however I want. Here's where the student folder key is located, and this is something that you can, the very first time you run it, you can save it. Really neat deal. It actually puts the document or template inside their folder. Really, really saves a lot of time for your students. Now here's what I mean about my email addresses for students that don't actually have email accounts. With the help of Andrew Stillman, he showed us that you can do this for your email addresses. So there's only one legitimate email address that I have. And the legitimate email address is this one right here, cov.stu@ssccards.org. All these other accounts are just variations of it. So you can see that I have the period here, then the period is down here. You just have to alter it a little bit. You can also add the plus symbol. And I typed in Covington because that's the name of my school. I typed in Heaton because that's my last name. You can type in whatever you want. When you run Doctopus, it'll say, sorry, there was a problem sharing with that email address. Perfectly fine. So I can go to next. Doctopus is very intuitive, and what it does is it gives you step-by-step directions. Make a mistake, forget something, super easy to do. Now here's one of the differences with Google Classroom as compared to Doctopus. Desired sharing arrangement. With Google Classroom, you can do an individual share, works great. You can also do whole class, works great for both Classroom and Doctopus. Project groups. This, I believe, is where the big deal is, big win or check mark goes to Doctopus, because I can do project groups. I can assign my students the groups. They don't have to share amongst themselves. I can tell this student here and this student down here, they're in the same group. They get the same presentation. They may work on it together. Very neat deal. For this one, I'm just going to do individual all the same. And what it does the first time you create it, I wanted to deliver to student folders. I wanted to, the very first time, is create them. It's going to automatically have that saved there. Very neat deal because it dumps it right into the folder. Whole class access level. Students can't access other students' assignments. I leave that no access. It's perfect. Assigned student access level. I want them to edit because it's a template. Now you could change that if you had a different idea for your project. Editors cannot change sharing permissions. I keep that checked because they are an editor, not the owner. I'm the owner of it. I don't want them to become the owner. I want to be the owner the whole time so I can see their projects. Then I can hit save and continue. A bigger project is going to take a little bit longer for Doctopus to run through. So here's what I want to do. The first time I ran Doctopus for this roster, I chose 2014 maps. And if you remember back a little while ago, that's where I created that template. If I need to change it, I can change it right here. What it does now is it's going to ask you, where's that template created, or where's the item that needs to be shared? I already have it here. We're going to pretend it's coming to number 7. Now again, as I said, you want to make sure everything matches up. This is because I don't have a number 8 created yet. So I'm just going to call it number 7, and I can hit save and continue. Make a mistake, I can go back. Nothing has been ran yet. Nothing has gone out to the students. This is also one of the reasons why you want to create your folder. Create new folder. It's going to be called this. I don't like the naming convention, so I want to choose existing folder. One of the first steps I did was I created a folder called Anderson number 8, which is right here. If you don't find it right away, you can sort by last edited, last open. You can sort by the name. Because I just opened it not too long ago, it's saved for me. I want to go back here. I didn't mean to double click. I want to just do a single click and click select. What that means is all of these student projects are going to go into the folder called Anderson number 8, exactly where I want them to go. Now you can name it something different. Because my students, I don't use their last names on here because they don't have email addresses. I don't need their last name on there because it would just be an A. I want it to be called first name, and I can just call it Anderson 8. These are your variables that you can use. Make sure you use the $, and that will just automatically fill down for every student you have. I click save and continue. And then it starts to fill this out. Don't change any of these column titles. These are set up through Doctopus. So if I'm ready to share, I hit run, copy, and share. If I want to, if somebody's excluded, maybe for different reasons as far as they are on a different assignment, they're out of town for a while, I can simply exclude them from that assignment. Now, I'm going to take a quick break here and show you what it's going to look like when it's all the way finished. Actually, the break did not work, so I want to just show you real quickly here. I apologize that it did not work. Here's what it looks like when everything is done. This is my folder with all my student assignments right here. I can look that way to grade them, or I can go back to the spreadsheet. Now this spreadsheet is called Anderson number 7. You'll notice in the email column, all of them except for one are in red. That just shows you it's not a valid email address, which is okay. I don't need it to be valid to share something through Doctopus. Column H, these are my live links to my student assignments. If I want to go in and assign their grade or whatever I want to do, I can do a simple click here, there's my link. It's all together, which is so nice because they don't have to share anything back with you, and younger students don't have the ability to do that. Everything is right here. Very neat on this spreadsheet. You can also, when I'm done, I can go back and attach a rubric, and a rubric will be in another video, but a rubric is a Google rubric. So if I want to go here, I can attach rubric. It does a good job of explaining what the rubric has to look like. Now I don't have any that are set up yet. The rubric Chrome extension is required for rubric-based grading. Click here to install the extension. Got it? I click right there. Then I'm going to find the spreadsheet that contains my rubric. If you want a quick YouTube video, there's a bunch of great ones out there that show you how to create your rubric. Once you have it created, it installs, and then here's your little rubric icon. So while you're checking your students' assignments, you click the rubric icon here, and the rubric pops into the presentation or the project, and you can simply go through your rubric and give them a grade. That also fills into your spreadsheet. If you don't like that idea, you can simply go here, click on it, read through the presentation of the project, and give them a grade right here. Whatever your scale is, whether it's a 1 through 4, an A through D, or whatever your scale is, you can keep track of it right here. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed Doctopus.